Hello, it's Tony, and it's time for something new. We are going to do a new project here, or new type of content, and it's going to be called the Battlefield Replay. So, Mitch, who is with me? Hello, Mitch.
Hello.
So we played this a while back, and we wanted to do a replay of it because it was such a fun scenario. We really enjoyed it. It's a shorter scenario, and it's really a fun. So we wanted to show this off, and this is the best we can do it. We always do log files, so this lets us explain what we did after the fact, and you don't get all the hemming and hawing of, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? We can kind of just get to the point and then and get to it. So, but I'm going to have Mitch introduce kind of the scenario and some history of the scenario, and take it away, Mitch.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tony. Pretty excited about doing this because I think it'll be neat. Like you said, it'll shorten the time. You don't have to watch us play for, although we didn't take very long to play this particular scenario, but you have to sit through 2 hours of inane commentary with lots of uhs and ahs and side tracks and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so the scenario is number 3, Seaforth Objective from, well, I have Scottish Quarter and Tony has Orders for the Major. So many moons ago, Critical Hit released Scottish Quarter, which had a bunch of scenarios in it, a couple of maps, and it's about the Scots and fighting their quarter. But the later on released as both Orders for the Major and Shout for Piats. This particular scenario ended up in Orders for the Major. There were differences between Scottish Quarter and Orders for the Major. So, for instance, in the original, there were no Piats. They were mortars instead. And then I think there was a little bit different mix of squads on the British side. And then on the Germans, they also had a little bit of a different mix of troops, although not quite as different. So anyway, that's the level set, according to the scenario. So you can see we've already marked it off with these black lines. It's this part of the map is the playing area, and the sole objective is to control the crossroads at G2. So Tony and I were going to go at it and do that.
Yeah, so we basically started off. And just to let you know, those two modules are TT modules, the tabletop modules. So
I don't think I even know that.
Yeah, so the Order for the Majors and the Shouts for Piats is they're both TT modules. So, but I know they.
Right. So I would say, just for those of you
1 and 2 as well later on.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're full size. And just so those of you who don't know, the TT modules were the tabletop modules. They had the smaller counters rather than larger counters.
They had everything on the smaller counters too. I haven't even looked at the counters. I was more interested in the scenarios. I didn't even realize they were TTs until after I bought them. So
there you go. Well, I mean, when you can play on VATS, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And you can see everything. So basically, we're both starting off the map, and I've got it set for us to get started here. So I've forwarded, so we've got all our setups already done. So since we're going to G2, I'm going to kind of give you a quick, brief overview of kind of what my plan is and whether it works. You can see whether it works. And then, Mitch, I'll have you just give a quick brief of what your plan was. So basically, my goal was to send my guys down here, Captain and Sergeant from the SS, to send them south and bring them up to G2. And then I didn't know what I was quite going to do with the SPW here, but eventually if I remember right, I just ran it up the road and took G2 because somebody had to do it sooner or later. So I think I kind of just, let's go with that. So that was kind of my idea. There's some interesting terrain, these hedges and some orchards and things like that made it interesting. So that's my goal. So Mitch, what was your initial plan?
Yeah, after having watched the replay of the log, I'm not sure I had a plan, but like you, I knew that G2 was the objective. I probably should have moved on it earlier. You'll see when we start doing the replay that I did not, because I think what I was waiting to do is let Tony try to get it, and then I'd upfire him and then take it after he took it. But anyway, I know initially I was gonna move on and take advantage of the linear depression, the ravine, to take cover. And what's funny is I was like, oh look, there's a masonry building or masonry building that I could use. And then I was looking at thinking, oh, that's not a good place because it has no line of sight because of the hedges. So I, abandoned that quickly. But anyway, basically, I was going to move on and kind of create a base of fire somewhere in here, waiting to see what you did, and then run on here and either pick you out of G2 or take it.
Yep. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and go through the scenario. So we had our initial, and of course, Mitch won. I rolled a 10 and Mitch rolled a 1. So
Which meant I got to go first, right?
Yes, and we were playing with our.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, we didn't call that. Here's Sergeant Eagles, Scott Eagles of VATS fame. I am, of course, in command, Major Land, and then playing against himself is Sergeant Kenner.
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't do any SS leaders for the.
So surprising that nobody wanted to be an SS German.
But okay, so we got Mitch moving on with Eagles, and I think
So there's me entering, coming through the crops and then hopping into the ravine.
So I came in from the bottom, knowing that you're trying to use the hedges as a kind of a shield for that. So I just moved on. That was pretty simple. And then Mitch, what do you? Let's see, you have.
I got a couple squads.
You just have a couple squads there. And surprisingly, a little bit weaker squads than I was thinking they were. They were 5.57. I didn't realize that. So.
Yeah, that was one of the changes from the original. So see me going into the building thinking, oh, this is going to be great, and then realizing I don't really have much of a line of sight from there. But anyway, yeah, the original chopped 3 6.58s off and made them all 5.57.
So I brought Sergeant Fogel in, and he just moved along, and I must have realized I wanted to stop back there. So.
Well, at one point, I think we were thinking that I might have had a shot, but I think
yeah, that's right. So we go back.
Oh no, they did. See, they did shoot.
Oh yeah, okay, so they did. Shoot.
That's why we moved you back, but yeah,
it was So
it was a really crappy shot because of all the. So if I do the line of sight, they should be able to see it, right?
Yeah.
So I think I shot at you back here-ish.
I'll have to do it because the line of sight doesn't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So you can kind of see.
So you can see it's going through orchards, which is 1, and then a bunch of crops, which is a much more, right, until you finally get there, and then it just missed.
The orchards was -1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, basically 5. So it was basically almost a non-shot.
It was a crappy shot, but hey.
I think we went back. You were going to fire, but then you waited for me to move into 4, and then you fired on that one. And so then I came on with my SPW, just cruising down the road, and I take the victory hacks. Now, this is one of those scenarios that it's only 5 turns, so it's a short scenario in that case. But so you have to keep it all the way through. So
and that's where I was saying I should have, because I had the first initiative, I should have just come on and run up there and taken it and force you to make cause you to try to get me out, right?
Yeah. So you come on.
Yep, a little back and forth there, I think.
Yeah, I did. Yep. So, yeah, I actually outfired on you. I think is what I did because that caused you some casualties there.
Yep, 1 casualty.
Yep. And then you did have.
Oh no, it's 2 casualties.
Yep. And then one of you guys broke, so you rolled a 10. So you were hoping that would work out, and so that one stopped, and then the rest of these guys came on. So.
No, I think I assault fired.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then I brought the carrier.
I was already done, so you brought the carrier in, and then you
it. Yep, with his dinky little Bren.
Yep, and it didn't.
And again.
So that was actually. Let's see. Do I still have a turn? Okay, let's see if I can move this so I can see this. Okay, so yeah, we're at the end of the turn.
Yep, moving to close assault.
And you won. Oh yeah, you won again.
Yep.
To first. But there's a lot of different things going on here. So
So these guys infiltrated to the up position in the ravine, which gives me line of sight into the victory hex. So
and of course with the linear depression, that's once you go into it, you're considered in the down position unless you So I think we were talking about.
I think you're talking about line of sight or something, yeah.
And then I moved, and then that was the end of first turn. So clean up, and then there was no. Well, you did actually had indirect fire, but I don't think you really used it.
Mm-mm. No, I didn't have any mortars.
Yeah. So, oh, you did rally that one unit, so
Yep.
that worked out.
Oh, I take it back. I do have a couple mortars.
Yeah,
but
you have a couple.
Well, they couldn't use it on the first turn, so that's why we went into the opposition so they could.
So they could use it going forward.
Right.
And so we went to fire. You didn't fire any at that time, and so
No, I was going to wait. I think and fire on the HPT.
Initiative again. So this is where.
Oh no! See, there's the indirect fire. You didn't quite go far ahead, yeah. So both mortars, which I named Rob and Roy.
Thought was appropriate for sure.
Because we're Scots, right? So of course we had Rob and Roy.
You totally missed the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Totally missed. You rolled an 89 for accuracy.
Yeah.
So, but the second one hit or almost hit.
No, it was one off. Yeah.
Yep. So we marked those guys fired. So, you fired in, or you fired into me because we were on initiative at that point.
Yeah, I think they did a fire group and shot. And then they shot their Piat, I believe, and broke it. Mm-hmm.
Yep, took it out.
Which, of course, you're already getting cover, but now you have
now I get
permanent cover in the hex.
Yeah, it's amazing that SS Squad stayed in there. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I think that's what I enjoyed about this scenario is like it was just back and forth and
Right. Yeah, and then you unloaded your MG42 on me.
Yep. Because you moved into that nice.
Yep.
And then
but I have a lot of support there. But one guy still broke, which is crazy.
The only nice thing is that they were basically at that point, because you hadn't moved those guys because you had infiltrated in, that squad's useless until next turn. So
right.
Even though you're probably going to rally them, they're not effective at this point. So
right. So here's where I had to look up how overrun worked.
Yep.
Because I'm overrunning you with my little Bren carrier.
And then you're trying to figure out the best.
Figure out how to turn around and use the machine gun.
Yeah. And then I fired onto H1.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 4, so you had a casualty. Looks
mm-hmm.
like, you had a couple casualties. Then you took that and fired at my guys and ended up with a 6, and I think that was nothing.
Yeah.
For that.
Then you fired back at yourself there.
It was quite effective.
Yeah. And at this point, something I should have done was just drop the Piat since the SD was killed.
Yeah.
I didn't need them anymore, but I carried them around anyway.
That it's like, you have access to bazookas on a lot of these scenarios, but unless there's buildings or vehicles, they're pointless at times. So
dead weight.
Mm-hmm. The nice thing is for you guys to know, it is no movement points to drop it. It doesn't cost anything to drop them, so you can drop them like a rock pretty quickly. So, I removed the overrun. Oh, we're in close assault basically at this point.
Yep.
So
I started to advance on you. Yep.
End of turn cleanup. You went through.
You advanced your guy. You were trying to figure out which way to go, I think.
Yep. And you did, and you of course rallied that guy down there.
Yep.
J5. So, which you have so much support there. You had 3 squads plus an officer. It's like you basically just don't roll a 10 and you're gonna make it. So
right.
So that's always a good sign on that one. Then me. Then
I walked the mortars in on you, but I think I missed.
No, you got a hit. Yep, you hit.
No, I did hit it. That's right. Right.
But it wasn't that bad of a hit, if I remember right. It was only
they're dinky little 51 millimeters.
Yeah, so they were like on the 6 end.
Which Evan and I were talking about that last night. He was when we were playing Obagny. Mm-hmm. He's got some 50 millimeters, and they're not bad. They're on the 6 column, which 50% of the time you're going to get a hit, but still.
Well, and you've already got that squad down to basically 1 step left.
Right.
I've got 1 step left on that squad
before
we go there. Oh, and I'm
And he's
surrendered. Yeah, I failed.
yep,
So because it was
yep,
a massively huge thing. So, uh,
right.
and then you fired again. You hit the
Yeah, what I wanted to do, and what I think we were talking about is I wanted to move that here,
yeah.
but the problem is um, Sergeant Eagles didn't have a line of sight. What I realized later was I could have spotted from myself
Oh
and
yeah, you
used,
self spotted on
yeah,
that one. Mhm.
but
And if I remember right, yeah, you hit,
yeah,
um, but you didn't like hit. so
right.
so you didn't cause any damage on that one.
No casualties, right?
Yeah, no casualties. And then of course you get initiative again. I think you got
Mm-hmm.
initiative on like almost all the turns
Right.
when it came to the fired movement segment. So yeah, you drop
Yeah.
the
See,
shots,
now I finally dropped the Piats, right?
and then you fire down at my MG42.
Right.
That I like that alt button that highlights. It makes it easy for
Mm-hmm.
us to redo these.
And probably what I should have done in retrospect, although that was a long shot. Oh no, I remember why I didn't. Because this guy is surrendered, I could have walked in there
Yeah,
during the movement phase. I would not have had to wait, but then I would have been hit by my own FFE, and that just seems silly.
yeah, exactly. Because you'd had to take some. Now, the one thing
Correct.
I noticed that we did not remember to do is the collateral fire. But
Yeah, well, I think we talked about it is that they were so low, and we decided we weren't really going to go back through those hexes that it just didn't matter.
that's half the time. The only time it's a really big deal is if you can bottle somebody up and they have to go
Right.
through a certain area.
Exactly.
That's where it really works. So. And
I think you're fired back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, killed a squad out of there.
Yep. I got really good on that. So now you're coming down here.
And just to be clear, this is turn 4.
We're on it is turn 4. Yeah. Yep. So we're like flying through these turns.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I remember that. So I can't remember what you were thinking of doing.
I think I was trying to overrun you again, and then realized I didn't. I think I didn't have enough movement point, right? Because you have to spend. I forget what it was, one per unit or something like that.
Like 1 or 2. You were only like 1 or 2 points short. Yeah.
Right.
So then I move up here, and you take the nice pot shot but miss.
Yep. Well, because you had used your machine gun to reduce their fire, right? So
yeah, because there's what yeah, so it was already down a casualty, so you already had one.
the 4, right?
And so
then we advanced.
Movement. Yep.
Yeah, that was close assault. I think was. Oh no, we're going into close assault. Now this says game turn 3, so we must have been off.
Yeah, things off. So, yeah, we're actually
that's right.
3. Yeah.
Right.
Yep, I remember that because we're not close enough yet. For
right.
Craziness that happens at the end of this scenario. Oh, so I actually went initiative for close assault. So basically, which was good because I moved away from that that Bren carrier, which I needed to do. You moved up north up here.
Yeah, because the FFE is still there.
Yep. And then I move farther away, kind of blocking any type of thing. So end of turn, clean up.
Right.
I don't think.
Another thing I was thinking too is that this guy, he has to make that end of turn surrender recovery roll. And he couldn't. He's got no leader, so he's just gonna die anyway.
Yeah, he just ends up dying if I remember it. Yeah, he's just gone, so.
Yep.
I think I rolled for it anyways, but then we realized, wait a minute. Yeah, I think that's where we figured out that you have to have a leader.
Right.
Yeah, you don't just get to automatically try to. So.
Yep.
But I still technically had the control of it because I was the last one through.
Correct.
So that's key on that one. So, and I made sure I put my marker on.
Yep. So, that's what we were talking about after you left. You're like, oh, we should mark that.
Yep. So you moved them. I think you were trying to put smoke there.
Yep. To keep your machine gun from laying fire on these guys, right?
Yep, that's right. Remember that.
And they did. Well, they popped smoke. Right, they popped smoke and walked in
because you failed to smoke.
Right.
Yeah. That was like not good. So.
And
then I fired on them, and actually.
Oh, you moved somewhere. Oh, you started walking around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I knew that I needed to get these guys up here.
Right.
to that hex. And then so you fired. Yeah. Oh yeah, because we're talking about this. So you this didn't,
Yeah, and
that didn't count.
because there is actually no line of sight there
Yep. Mhm.
along the long
Yeah.
space.
That and no, it's the long one was fine. It was that C5 that, if I remember right, it was.
No, I think it was the other way. We decided that doesn't really matter. But this is not, unless you're sitting here.
Okay.
This blocks line of sight
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Yeah.
down the long way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, or if there wasn't another one there, like you would have been fine if he was anywhere, but then, yeah,
No. This blocks line of sight unless you're adjacent. I think I
realized you
drove
needed to get
drove the carrier around and right.
you fired at me.
Yep.
And you actually hit me too. Oh, you hit the.
Yeah, that's these guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
You actually hit those guys up there, which kind of bummed me out because those guys were like people I needed to get. So.
And then the leader broke.
Sergeant.
Right.
And
the squad.
Yep. So both of these guys were broke.
Yeah, but I tell you, it's always the low odds shots that does the damage.
Just does the damage, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're going into close assaults.
For turn 4.
Yep, we're on turn 4
out of 5.
Yep. So it's getting close to the end. So at 4, so I actually got close assault. I don't think it really mattered for me so much. Of course, you flipped control at that point, which you would have flipped earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Yeah, so I start moving towards you.
Yep.
In retrospect, I probably should have just foregone the mortars and started moving these guys out because that's 2 full squads I could have used. But anyway.
Yeah, and then those mortars, and you could have just left the mortars there too, because they did their job, so you could drop them and gone through.
Yep.
So then I had, so I rallied my sergeant, and if I remember right, then I ended up rallying the squad underneath. So I got lucky on that one and got some good rolls on that one. So okay, we're on to turn 5, which is our final one.
All right. So, and I just want to pause here. You can tell it's pretty close, right? I mean, yeah, I think, but we both made some maybe tactical blunders, but still, it's pretty close for this tiny scenario. And there's still a lot of little interesting decisions with the terrain. So
yeah, and it could go either way, and I think we even said that this still could go either way because I had enough to get in there because you only had myself, half squad, and casualty full squad.
Right.
So, and then I still had basically all my squads. Full squads were. I lost one full squad, but after that, I still have quite a few there. So it was kind of interesting.
Right, and like we just talked about, I left a lot of combat sitting down here.
So you did try to hit my guy there at A4. I'm like praying that you miss. So yeah, that's who spotted, and you missed badly. So that was one of those. Whew, okay, I was able to breathe on that. Like, there's a lot of if you would have hit there, I think that would have changed the whole scenario. And then, if I remember right, so you tried to do it again.
Yep.
And I think again.
Yeah, it scattered again, which at that point just didn't matter, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now,
and so I could have tried an HPT shot from the mortar, but if you trace that line of supply again, or line of sight, it's through 4 crops and becomes a plus. It becomes hard to hit. So
yeah, and you can just tell that. I think if I remember right, I was praying that I'd get initiative this turn because I was afraid you were going to take me out with that carrier. But I can't quite remember. So you actually got it, but if I remember right, what did you?
I popped smoke again. To keep you from shooting.
Yep. And then I ran and was able to. All I had to do was get adjacent.
Right.
Oh, but you did op fire.
I did. Yep. But I don't think it.
This was one of those ones where I'm like, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. And you did hit me, but I didn't fail any morale checks. So I was still able to go. I was figuring out. I had to figure out the best way to do this.
Right. Well, and I think we were looking at lines of sight.
Yep. Yeah.
I moved
So
you back a little bit.
Yeah. You fired on
Yeah,
me,
shot again.
and
Right.
You were successful. You got one hit on me, but again, I didn't fail any morale checks. So going, and I wanted to get basically right there.
Right.
Those guys then assault fired on me.
Right.
You had crawled.
Yeah, but that's out of the smoke. Although the running kind of counteracted that.
So you ended up with a 5, but everything was halved. So
yeah, so you still lost some guys.
Yep.
But
yep.
I mean, you took casualties getting there for sure.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, things are going. But then I was able to move the other guys in.
And then
you got
I assault moved in
there. Yep.
Right.
So, we're looking at 2 full squads, 2 leaders, and a half squad, basically.
Yep. All came down to melee.
Which is what made this scenario more fun.
Right.
I think I was able to.
Yeah, I think we backed up because you were.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was assault firing. That's right. Before I hit the smoke.
Yep.
Which caused Sergeant Vogel to break, which is good for you because you didn't really care about him. You really just needed the squad.
Yeah, I just really needed the squad more. Because I had the captain, I had the officer coming in. So
yeah.
So here we go. Close assault. I got initiative.
Right. Well, but we knew I wasn't leaving, so.
Yeah. So.
I think we just pulled everybody off to the side to do the close assault.
Yep, that's what we did. So here we go. So the close assault, I'm hoping we can remember. So you can kind of see how we had things paired up.
Yeah. So you have to put a single soldier counter with, you have to attach him to a squad, and then you get to use your machine gun 3 times on the attack, but not the defense.
Yeah,
right?
Because of the rate of fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was a 2 ROF rate of fire, then it would only been 2 times.
Right. And if you look at it, it's so even numbers wise, relatively, right? The big difference is you have better morale and higher gunfire.
Yep. Okay, so
yeah, I think I took a crappy 1 to 2 or something on that guy.
Yep.
And then tried to kill that guy, and then the other guys went on your other right. Or maybe we were talking through what. No, I think we were talking through what I was going to do. So and then you attacked back.
I didn't take any hits at that at all.
Which at that point it was over, right? I mean,
well, it depended on how my stuff went. So,
but I was because I was gonna.
I did take some hits. I did.
You waited, right?
Yeah.
You waited to take it, but the problem is I was on the downside of taking losses. So
I lost. So you did hit this guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah. I took him out. Yep. So, put a hit on him, but you hit this guy, turned him over.
Yep.
Killed yourself.
Yep. And so.
Yeah.
Yep, you rolled a 4, which on that it was like a 2 to something, so a 4 didn't even hit on that.
Yeah, I think Yeah.
The 9 definitely hit. So.
Right. Like I said, I was started to go on the downside of rolling.
Yep.
I'm going to blame the dice. No. I mean, it was still a pretty close run. I mean, we're both getting whittled down, right? And so in melee, right, you go till one side is dead.
Yeah, you keep going. Yeah, so.
And see, there's an 8, right?
Yep. So you did an 8, and you fired, and you got an 8 and missed, and then I did everything. If I remember right, I did an everything.
I think to try to kill him off or something. Yeah.
Yep. And that ended.
And then the machine gun, right? Because you only got it 3 times. Yep. But see, now you have 2 half squads against my half squad, so.
And plus the captain too, so that
right.
And you rolled a 9. I rolled a 7, but it was like 4 to 1 if I remember right. So
yeah. So it was.
You had.
It was bloody, right?
Yeah, you were at a 2. I had a 5.
No, I'm a 3. I'm not casualties.
Oh,
I'm a 3.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's the C underneath. So you had a 3, but I had a 5. So I had 10. So I was at least 3 to 1.
Yeah, you had 5 here and 4 here, so you had 9. So it was 3 to 1, and then -2 for the captain. So
yeah, so that 7 dropped it down, so that took care of that. So then you're gone, and then bingo.
Yep. So it was bloody, but
Yep. So at that point, that's the end. That's the end of the game. So that ended up the
Right.
scenario. So it was a fun
Gotta go
game.
survive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And probably I would say in another couple of turns you had people coming to help you take care of that.
Right. Well, that's why I said, yeah, retrospect, I should have run on the objective because I won initiative. I should have run on the objective first, like you did. Right.
Yeah, because then I would have wasted units trying to take it because that would have changed the way
Right.
I approached it.
Right. And in retrospect, I might have maybe loaded up one squad with both mortars.
Yes.
Which would have freed up another squad to do maneuver. And then I think I just waited too long down here, right?
Oh yeah, those are 2 CP mortars.
Yeah, they could carry them, just not real fast.
Yeah, you would actually have a -1 movement point because it's 1 point. I think it's like
I think that sounds right. Yeah,
that sounds about right. So yeah, have one, and then that would have taken care of all of them on that.
Right.
So, right. Because every time you try to fire those guys, that wasn't a mortar, you dropped it. It dropped down to 3s right away.
Right.
2 CPs. So you went from a 10 down to a 6.
Yep.
Just by carrying those.
Yep.
Down. So yeah, it was definitely a great scenario, and probably the first scenario I beat you where it wasn't the scenario wasn't balanced. Like this is, to me, I think this is a truly balanced scenario. This way.
Oh yeah, I think it was a great scenario. I think it'd be a good tournament scenario if I dare say so.
Yeah,
but
it could have gone either if I would have rolled a little differently in the, or if you would have rolled a little differently in the melee, because I think there was one time where you don't hit.
Yeah.
It could, if you would have hit, you had a good couple of fours or something, that would have changed it all together.
Yeah, I was just say, going back through the rolls, neither one of us rolled actually superbly in the melee. It's just your rolls were just on average lower than mine, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, you had the gunfire.
So. Yeah, having that machine gun, that 3-weight machine gun really made a difference on that.
Yep. I mean, a little bit lower rolling on my part could have done it. I mean, this carrier, if he'd broken those guys on the way over or something, you know what I mean? So there are opportunities. So that's why we roll dice.
Yeah, right? That was one of those ones where I prayed that your mortars would miss, because if any one of those mortars hit, I knew it was kind of done for, because I wouldn't have had a full, as full complement as I had. I mean, I even still took some losses getting over there. As it was, but I didn't break.
And it wasn't enough. Yeah,
it just wasn't enough to do that. So there's a couple times I'm like, oh, just fire at me.
Yep.
So that worked out. So I had to take that squad, that stack, the long way around though, because that brain carrier got too close to me. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to go all the way around this way. So it took me 2 turns, but and I remember thinking, then I go, okay, I got enough turns to get there, as long as I don't break.
Right. Yeah.
Because honestly, if that captain would have broken, that would have been done. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think it would. I don't know that you'd have made it, right?
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed doing this. This was kind of fun. It was like it's kind of like giving that debrief at the end of a mission. Okay.
AAR, after action review.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I could have done this, and I think I did pretty good on that one, so I was pretty happy with it. So
right.
But like my plan worked out the way I was hoping to kind of draw your fire a little bit. It was just some luck, some dumb luck that I didn't get hit as much. And,
right.
You had it. So coming in from where you came, you were able to use the terrain to get onto the map without any problems.
Right.
I had to come and basically open or go from the
right. And I think that's part of what I was thinking too, is if I could get set up in a good spot to shoot at you when you came on, even if it was crappy assault fire, that would have been good. But I didn't really position myself well to do that. So,
well,
like I said, mistakes were made.
Yeah. So, and what we'll probably end up doing, Mitch, is we'll probably end up flipping this. We like to do, because it's always fun to. So now I'll see what I learned from you.
There you go.
Not to do.
Right. No, that'd be fun.
And then so we'll definitely have to do that and do one of these again, because I think these are pretty fun as we go through them. And it's always fun to say, well, in retrospect, I probably should have done this.
Right.
You don't get that view until after the scenario, so it's pretty cool.
Which a lot of scenarios are good like that. Some aren't. Some you're just like, yep, nope, this scenario is broken. I'm not playing this one again. So, but I think it's got a lot of, even though it's small,
Yeah.
it's got a lot of replay value. So
Yeah, because you could try lots of different ways of
right,
coming across.
right.
So, well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. Look forward for more of these. I really enjoyed doing it. I think
Yeah.
you would agree with me that Mitch that this was
Oh yeah.
really fun. So it's
Yeah, welcome.
after
Yeah.
report. Yep,
For
definitely.
the first ATSFE Battlefield replay, although we probably should have done it after action review, but whatever. First ATSFE Battlefield replay. Well, like we talked about, I like it because it's we have our Battlefield walk around, so now we have our Battlefield replays.
Yep.
And I think Evan and I are planning possibly to do one on the Obang Knee Ridge scenario too. So we'd get a few more of these in there. Although that's a much longer, bigger scenario. So
Well,
probably.
I think maybe even the longer, bigger scenarios, it's a good way to do it. This
Oh yeah, because you don't want to watch that
no
5 hours worth of video, right? So
yeah, so you can just have load up the log files, and you can do it in
right,
one sitting instead of 4 or 5 days.
exactly.
How we get going through. So, well,
Yep.
thanks a lot, Mitch.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it, and we will see you guys on the battlefield next time. See you later. Bye.
Bye.